Okay, I'm going to go over some ACT questions and then some homework help. So this first one, a dog eats 7 cans of food in 3 days. At this rate, how many cans of food does a dog eat in 3 plus D days? So we know the dog eats 7 cans in 3 days, right? So no matter what, the dog's going to eat at least 7 cans. So from just that, it's going to be J or K. So now I have a 50-50 shot of figuring out how many cans this dog will eat in 7 plus D days. So then we need to figure out how many cans is this dog eating in 1 day. So if we eat 7 cans in 3 days, well, that means in 1 day, I could just divide both of these by 3. We're going to eat 7/3 of a can in 1 day. The dog is going to eat 7/3 of a can, so 7/3 of a can, that's going to be K. They use D here for some reason, which kind of threw me off. I would have used C for can and think D means days, but anyways, doesn't matter. Okay, this one is kind of a weird one. Kelly asked 120 students about skiing. The results of the poll are shown in the table. So she asked, have you ever skied either cross country or downhill? And they said yes or no. If you answered yes to question 1, did you ski downhill? And if you answered yes to question 2, did you ski cross country? After completing the poll, Kelly wondered how many of the students skied cross country and downhill. How many students polled indicated that they had skied both? Okay, so first, if we look at this, 65 of them had said that they had skied cross country or downhill. Okay, and then that 65 were then questioned again and asked if they had skied downhill. Well, 28 of those people had said that they had skied downhill. Okay, and then we could say the same thing for down here. Those same 65 were broken up, and then 45 had said that they had skied cross country. Now, if we look at this, and the way I figured this out was, okay, so if they skied downhill, and we want to know how many of those same ones skied cross country, well, we can look at how many did not ski cross country, and there's 20 there. And same thing here, we can see how many did not ski downhill, and there's 37. So we can subtract those two numbers, 45 minus 37, there's 8 of them. And then 28 minus 20 is 8. So 8 of those people answered yes to both of those questions. Okay. All right, let's look at this one. So here, the square below is divided into 3 rows of equal area. In the top row, the region A has the same area as region B. And then in the middle row, the 3 areas have the same area, and then the bottom row, the same thing. So we know that this is a third, this is a third, and this is a third. Like this whole thing right here. That's a third of the area. This would be a third of the area, and this would be a third of the area. Okay. Now this, right here, the A portion of this would be half of a third. So half of a third, we could just multiply those and you get a 1/6. So this A area right here is a 1/6. This one would be a third of a third. So we multiply those and we get 1/9. So this is 1/9. This area would be a fourth of a third. That's 1/12. Now we need to add all those up because we want to know the total area. So we have 1/6 plus 1/9 plus 1/12, which we have to get a common denominator. 36 is our common denominator, so that's going to be 6 over 36 plus 4 over 36 plus 3 over 36. 6 plus 4 is 10 plus 3 is 13 out of 36. Okay. Then this last one, the function y equals x y equals sine of x. We're going to go through these functions like probably February-ish. But y equals sine of x, y equals sine of x plus a plus b. For a and b are graphed in the standard xy coordinate plane. The functions have the same maximum value. One of the following statements about the values a and b is true. Which statement is it? So if we have this function, y equals sine of x, this would be like our parent function. Okay, if we have the function y equals sine of x plus a plus b, this is where we use our transformation. So whatever's inside here, this is the horizontal what's it called? It moves left or right. And this is the vertical. It's not stretch. Why can't I think of this like transformation, I guess? It's just like, it's what moves it. So this moves it up or down. Sorry, I'm having a brain fart. And this moves it left or right. So from this function, we can tell that this did not move up or down at all, right? Which means that b must equal 0. There's only one where b equals 0, so the answer here has to be A. Okay, and let's go over some questions. I withdrew this question from your homework. I think it's number 14. And I'm just going to go through it. I withdrew it because you get some weird answers. I mean, you guys could totally do it. But, so we could use long or synthetic. And I'm going to use synthetic so that we can just kind of review it. And factoring to write this in completely factored form. Okay, so if we want to write this in completely factored form, I'm going to use synthetic division here. And I'm going to set this x minus 2 equal to 0. And I get x equals 2. So that 2 is what's going on the outside here. And then all these other numbers, 1, negative 6, 13, negative 30, and 40 go on the inside. If there was a missing number, so say we didn't have that, we would have to put a 0x squared in for that. Okay, we do have it, so we don't have to worry about that. But then we drop down the first one, and then we multiply. And then we add. So you get negative 4, then you multiply, you get negative 8. 5, multiply, you get 10. Negative 20, multiply, you get negative 40, and then 0. So now, since this was x to the 4th, this is going to be x cubed. So this will be x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5x minus 20. Now, if it was just asking you to do synthetic division here, this would be your answer. But it wants us to go further, so we're going to factor this. Between these two, I can pull out an x squared. Between these two, I can pull out a 5. So we have x squared, x minus 4, plus 5, x minus 4. So our factor becomes x minus 4 and x squared plus 5. Plus the one that we divided by, so x minus 2. So f of x equals this. This thing right here is the same as this. So our factored form here would be f of x equals x minus 2, x minus 4, and x squared plus 5. And you might wonder, like, why didn't I go further with this? We will, when we get into the later units, like, or not units, sections of this, so in like 3.4, 3.5, we would actually like factor this out, but for this sake, we're just gonna leave it there. If this was the difference of squares, so say this was like x squared minus 9, we could have factored that to x minus 3 and x plus 3. If it can factor nicely, factor it. Okay. Okay, so here, now we want to find our zeros. So this will be like x equals, then we set all these equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0, x minus 4 equals 0, x squared plus 5 equals 0. So this is x equals 2, x equals 4, x squared equals negative 5, square root that. You get x equals I square root of 5 plus or minus. So the answer here would be 2 for I square roots of 5 and negative I square roots of 5. Okay. Now these ones, the remainder theorem. So what this is saying is if we plug in negative 2, we should get the same thing as if we were to do the remainder, or as the remainder if we were to divide this. So let's just check that. So if I was to divide this by, if we're plugging in negative 2, that means we're checking the factor of x plus 2. Okay, because then you set that equal to 0 and you get x equals negative 2, which is where this is coming from. And then let's just divide this. So 5, negative 7, 6. So I'm going to drop the 5, multiply, you get negative 10, negative 17, multiply, you get 34, which is 40. So our remainder for this one would be 40. But there's a shortcut here. We could just plug in negative 2. So that's going to be 5 times 4 plus negative 7 minus 2 is 14 plus 6. 5 times 4, that's 20 plus 14 plus 6. That equals 20, so 20 plus 20 is 40. These are the same thing. Okay, that will always happen. So, like, let's just test negative 1 also. Let's do it with negative 1. So if we do negative 1, that'd be 5, negative 7, 6. Drop the 5. That's negative 5, negative 12, 12, 18. So if I plug in negative 1, I should get 18. So then I'll do 5 times negative 1 squared minus 7 times negative 1 plus 6, which that's 5 times 1 plus 7 plus 6, which is 5 plus 7 plus 6. 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 6 is 18. Okay? I think that's all. Hop on Google Meets if you have questions. There will be a test this weekend, so it's half a test. It's 10 questions. It is going in the testing category, though. Okay? Hop on Google Meets if you have questions. Bye, guys.